What's good, everybody? It's Jarrell the Chop Bandit. Welcome back to What You Want to Know Wednesdays. And today I want to start the first of a three-part series discussing the business of you, and the first being discipline. So when you hear the word discipline, you usually think of one or two things, which is, some kind of reprimand or consequence or how you do something. I want to talk about more so the latter, which is how you do something specifically in business though. So when you're dealing with creatives, most of the time you have to think about yourself as the corporation and what you do or your service as the product. And a lot of times we don't think that way. So once you understand that way of thinking, you realize you have to tweak the way you operate, right? And one of the first places I tell anybody to start is discipline, specifically in time, quality, and details. So let's first deal with time. Having discipline in your timing, or a better phrase is time management, can fix a lot of your life problems in general. If you can learn how to do things in a timely manner, not procrastinate, and kind of just do them in an efficient way, your life as well as your career will kind of like blossom and grow because you know how to do things, and it forces you to learn better ways of doing certain tasks and being more efficient, period. But specifically, doing things for creatives in a timely manner can be a little frustrating because some of the stuff that we do is abstract and we need time to think, we need time to process, create. It can feel counterintuitive, right? Because you're like, I can't rush the process, but I want you to shift your thinking. You want to even get to the point to where you're thinking about your creativity in an efficient manner, creating a workflow. And the workflow will really just change the way you do things because now it's streamlining your creative process. And that can help with so many things. So one of the things that I implemented one day was I would work on a certain task of creativity for like an hour or two and go to the next one. Like no matter where I was, I would just have to go to the next thing and like do that for like 3 or 4 hours out the day. And what it did, it forced me to figure out quicker ways to do what I needed to do. And eventually I got faster and faster and faster to where, like, okay, I can knock out a good chunk of things in here. I can do this here. I can do this here. And it also broke me out of the mindset of like, I have to complete a full task before I move on to the next one. You can do things in a gradual manner throughout the week or the month or whatever. You can take your time working on multiple things throughout a section of time. It kind of helps you to understand the process of multitasking as a creative. The reason why this is so important is because when you have clients, you might have multiple clients and you might have like a certain deadline that they might be running back to back. So that means you can't be focused on one person and trying to finish one thing at a time. You might have to focus on multiple people. And in doing so, you might have to get a certain amount of each section for each client done in a certain amount of time. Time management will help you to do that. That way you're not frustrated, you're not trying to figure things out. So if you reach a certain place where like you feel like you're blocked, you can go on to the next one and that might spark you to get the innovation to start the other part and fix that. But it pushes you to be efficient and just get everything together. The second thing I want to talk about is quality. Quality is very straightforward. You need to understand what your efficiency versus quality ratio is. If you can't crank out a good quality product in a short amount of time, you need to be realistic about that and be realistic about that to your customer. If they were like, hey, I want this mix back by 2 hours. If you haven't, worked out a workflow and got that together and can confidently say that you can have this a good quality mix back in 2 hours, you should probably explain that to the client, let them know, the truth, and Work out something to where it doesn't feel like it's too far away and you have so much time where you can be lackadaisical, but also get them, a good quality product within a decent amount of time. And that goes for anybody, whether you're a choreographer, a painter, whatever. It doesn't matter. You need to find ways to get your workflow together the way your quality and efficiency are at peak condition. Lastly, I'll talk about details. So details are so important because you can have good time management and you can have good quality work, But if you're not paying attention to details, that can all be for naught, right? If the customer or the client is asking for specific things, you need to be able to understand that, comprehend it, and incorporate that into whatever your product or service is efficiently. You can't just breeze over and do whatever you want. I know, especially as creatives, we get in our situation, we be like, "Ooh, I want to do this, and let's do that, and da 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 da." At the end of the day, if somebody is presenting a vision of what they want to you, you can, if you feel like they are comfortable with you making suggestions, do so, but do not overextend yourself and almost overshadow their vision. They're bringing something to you because they feel like you can help embody what they envision, right? So you really need to pay attention to details. Details matter. If you were doing a project or certain things, if you brought on anybody, you would want them to really pay attention to whatever the details are that you put before them. Same thing. So you really have to keep these things in mind. And honestly, with discipline, if you can learn how to time manage, get good quality product with an efficient time, and pay attention to details, nobody can ever have a bad review for you. You can't please everybody. I will tell you that right now. They'll be like, "Hey, I want $1 million worth of work for $100," or they want 40 hours worth of work for in 2 hours. Some people are just unrealistic, and that's another part that we'll discuss later. But all in all, if you can master these three things, it will just take you as a business to the next level. So that's it for discipline. Join me next week for part 2. If you have any questions, comment them below. And of course, if you have any questions about what I'm using or any courses that I provide, feel free to click the link in my bio and check it out there. But until next time, peace.